What's up, everyone? Let me know if you guys can hear me well. Awesome. Thanks, Jacob, for letting me know. We're gonna give it 5 minutes. Give people some time to join in, and then we'll get started. If you guys have any questions or anything for this stream, or you want me to touch on, just put it in the comments, and feel free to let me know, and I'll cover it. All right, let's get started. It's 6:05 Central, 7:05 Eastern. So first off, just gonna talk about the economic calendar real quick. So here we have this week's U.S. economic reports. Nothing really big going on Monday. Tuesday, nothing really big that's going to affect the market very much. A little bit about housing, building permits, but Wednesday is the big day. That's where the Fed's going to decide the interest rate and if there's going to be any potential rate hikes. So that'll be a key day to really keep an eye out for. Expect a lot of volatility and choppiness that Wednesday, September 20th, especially leading up to Powell at 2:30. Thursday we got some jobless claims, a lot of financial reports coming in between 8:30 and 10. So if you can, I would wait for 10 o'clock to come by. Let this report come in about existing home sales and economic indicators, and then you can kind of start trading from there until 4 o'clock, till market close. And then Friday will be a big day because 8:50, 40 minutes before market opens, we have a Fed speaker, and then we have some PMI reports, and then more Fed speakers at 1. So big days to really maybe size a little bit less than usual will be probably Wednesday and Friday. Now moving on to the charts. Moving on to the charts, we're going to start with longer time frame. So here we're looking at the 4-hour time frame. Kind of helps me get an idea of where we're going to see the market kind of head in, and in what kind of direction we're going to head in this week by Friday. So here we are looking at SPY 4-hour time frame. Looks like we have a potential double top that's already occurred here. We could possibly see, if we lose this, we have a demand zone here between 441.18 and 442.62. This will be a huge zone to keep an eye out for, because once we go below 441.18 on SPY, this can see a big drop. A big drop to our next big resistance, which would be about 439. Then from there we'd probably see 434, and then right back to the next zone, which is at 431. So possibly below 441, look for a nice push to the downside to our demand zone here. I am kind of bearish going into this week. As you can see, our RSI is dipping below 50, and MACD has already crossed, and it's crossing to the downside with some nice bearish momentum with these dark red candles there, dark red boxes here. And then lastly, stochastics is over here at 36, so it still has another 6 points or more to go. No kind of divergence going on. This is high up here at 452. This is at 449, so not really a big divergence, but definitely a step down from when we were previously, right? So here we were 452. We were up over here on our side around 64. Here we pushed up again to 449, and we only got as high as 58 on our side. Big difference here from before is that now we're seeing this big bearish trend. So, and if you're going to take anything on the 4-hour, I'll definitely play at least a week out. Cool. So, and then also with SPY, you want to keep an eye out on this gap fill here. Gap fill between 447.58 and 448.32. That was made on the Thursday to Friday candle. So definitely could be a level to look out for. And also, last thing I want to point out here is that here, this bold line is our 75 EMA. Just let me mark it down for you guys. Right there. That's our 75 EMA, and that is at 443.80 if you wanted to mark that down. And if we're looking at previous data, last time we broke through this 75 EMA, we had a drop all the way to the bottom of this zone, 441.18. So we could possibly see that tomorrow, maybe hit the bottom before we get a rejection to the upside. But like I said before, below 441.18, we can see a big dump. Because look what happened over here last time we had a good push below, right? Below 75, we had RSI below 50. MACD is nice and red. Stochastics was crossing to the downside, so very similar scenario to what we're experiencing now. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. Now going with Qs. Or actually, I want to show you VIX. I almost forgot VIX. Take care of all these guys. Okay. All right. Now here's VIX, right? So VIX, there's a very key thing I wanted to point out to you guys. So it made a low here at 13 on September 1st. Now it made even lower low over here at 1265-ish. Right? We kind of had that trend line going down. But look at MACD. MACD is all the way over here. We got that divergence. Bullish divergence. Bullish divergence means that price chart kind of tells you downwards, MACD tells you upwards, and then if you wanted further confirmation, you can see that RSI is also telling you the same thing. And remember, guys, VIX is the opposite of SPY. So based off this chart alone, if we want to maybe have this up in the morning on the 4-hour, once this breaks, let me have my drawing tool. Once this breaks about right here, which would be about over 14.15, this can get this could be a nice push up. Look at that volume already picking up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get that push tomorrow, at least to 14.53, which will put us at or 14.58, I apologize. That would put us at our next supply zone. And this further confirms my my downward thesis on SPY. All right, Qs. Qs. I know a lot of people that play Qs instead of SPY, so always like to cover the two. Always the big guys. This one's very similar to SPY. It broke below the 75 EMA. It's kind of hanging on a little bit here with this doji candle. But again, with that VIX pattern that we kind of saw here, it looks like we get a nice push out of this wedge. So look for a downside push here on Qs. Just like our big level was on SPY to break below 441.18 before buying puts. If you didn't want to wait that long, you can always look for puts on Qs below 369.19. Once we get a solid close, 369.19, again, this can dip to the downside, and our next nearest demand zone would be 354.77 to 357.56. And then if you wanted some levels on the downside, it would be below 369, probably see 364.75 shortly after. I don't really see any nice zones kind of any sooner. Could put one like right there at 368.90, but it's really close. So I prefer these levels right here. And look at RSI below 50, nice bearish momentum. So definitely keep an eye on Qs for puts tomorrow. And then if possibly you got to push back up tomorrow, then our supply zone there to the upside would be 380.82 to 384.89. Awesome. All right. And guys, if as I'm going through this, if you have any questions or if I'm not making sense, just feel free to pop them in the chat. I'll be more than happy to further explain. Now I wanted to look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is always a big one that always moves. I don't know how, but it moves, has these crazy $16 days like it had on Friday. So looking at this, it broke below our 75 EMA. It's kind of been hanging out there since Thursday, September 7th. It's kind of stayed within this 466 to 444 range. Let me actually box that up for you guys right here. Like that. So that was kind of our consolidation zone that we had going on since September 7th. We finally got a nice break at open on Friday, and that's kind of where we left off at 438.99. We also have a small little demand zone that it broke through. That was between, where is my line? Between 439.82 and 440.46. So we actually closed below that. And look over here, guys. A nice little gap to fill. Wish I would actually seen this on Friday, but I didn't. I wasn't looking at the 4 hours, looking at more day trades. But this actually has a lot to go because 435.69 is right there. And after breaking the zone, I don't see why we would come back to retest. Because look at MACD. MACD, super red, broke the midline. RSI below 50 and still heading to that oversold level. So still has a little bit of ways to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 435 first before we get a consolidation, before we get any kind of consolidation or move back to the upside. Jacob, so to answer your question, I use a 4-hour time frame to kind of find any swing trades. So all these kind of setups I'm going through right now are all for swing trade purposes. So any, you would look for 1 to 3 weeks out with these kind of trades. But after this, we're gonna jump into the 45-minute time frame, and then that's where I'll show you more of my day trades and what I look for then for the small time frames. Good question. Good question. Netflix. So Netflix fell off a cliff on Wednesday, September 13th. Had a huge move from 438 all the way to 396. That's insane. Insane. How much did we move? 438 to over 40 bucks. Pretty much we moved to $40 between Wednesday and Friday, which is insane. With this further push to the downside, the next zone would be the next supply zone would be 375.65 and 369. I don't see us pushing down any lower, just because price started to consolidate here between 9:30 and 13:30, which was Friday. And look at stochastics, very oversold. MACD lightening up, having that lighter red, and RSI oversold. So this is due for a pullback. So look for Netflix to break back up to at least 411 to 412. And it has a little zone here that we also need to keep an eye out for, which is about right here at 398. So 398.11 will be a big level to keep an eye out for. After we break above that, 411, 412, very probable. What else we got? All right. Now from that, I wanted to show you guys Microsoft. Microsoft, out of all the ones that I've showed you so far, is that this is right there on that 75-day EMA right here. And that is 330 and $330.20 if you wanted to mark that number down. And we actually closed right below that with 330.16. So strong RSI just breaking below that 50 level. MACD breaking below. MACD is picking up that bearish momentum. So look for tomorrow. Look for tomorrow for us to open up, and by end of day, see 327. Bottom of the zone will be 321.82, 333 to 337.84. Those are your two big zones to keep an eye out for 4 hour on the 4 hour time frame for any swing trades. Now going down to Microsoft. It's kind of been consolidating here since Thursday, September 7th, after a huge gap up from September 6th, Wednesday. We kind of just had this consolidation, but as you can see, RSI has kind of been keeping, that same range. So even though it has tried to break that low, it's just not happening. And then if you look at stochastics, it's trying to push up higher every time. See? Right here, and yeah, so kind of hitting that same stride on the price chart, but stochastics wants us to push back up. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. Based on what I've seen with price, it tends to come back towards that 75 EMA, and that would actually drop us off at the gap fill to 181 on Apple. So this level gets even more confluence just because of that. And if you wanted to wait, you can always wait for a break over 176.15. Once we break over that, you could take calls and take it all the way to 181. And you could even do weeklies, honestly, because this was September 6th, and we're September 17th. So you can either do 1 to 2 weeks, and then once we kind of hit this zone here, 179, you can start to trim, and then kind of leave your runner for 181. But again, based off your risk tolerance. And then, of course, this setup will be invalidated if we break below 173.61. But I don't think so. I think we're going to get that push up on Apple. All right, Tesla. So Tesla, as you can see here, if we look at the RSI chart, you can see that Tesla made a high here at 9:30 on September 12th. RSI kind of pushed a bit higher. Then Tesla pushed again back to that same level back on September 14th. RSI pushed a lower high. So another bearish divergence to keep an eye out for. If you wanted to trace this out, this could actually be a rising wedge. Yeah, about right there. That would be our rising wedge setup. And zones to keep an eye out for will be these guys. Demand zone will be 254.40 and to 261, and our supply zone will be 277 to 284. But look at that decrease in bullish momentum. I think this can actually be a very solid play, especially if you wanted to kind of play tomorrow the market settlement, which is like SPY and Qs. SPY and Qs both are saying downside, so if you wanted to stay with that downside biased, this will be a great play to take. I might even take this side open. Take this, boom, right. Wait for a break around right there, and take it all the way to 261. And you could even possibly get a gap fill all the way to from 260 to 248, but that would be hoping for a lot. That wouldn't happen in one day. Probably be in a strand. This would probably all happen within a strand of like 3 to 5 days, if not 2 weeks, depending on the market structure. And those are the good ones for Tesla. Let me see. TSM, LLY. Guys, make sure to hit like on the video if you guys are enjoying the stream. Definitely motivates me to keep making more videos and keep going live, of course. So let me check on TSM and LLY. So TSM, I'm gonna check if there's any good 4-hour setups. By the way, guys, these zones, these are very, very solid zones. Obviously 4-hour, and these are populated immediately. Like you can see that someone asked me for TSM. Supply and demand zones are populated perfectly there. And this is all based on previous price action historical data, and it updates daily. And it's called SR channel. It's fire. Just to show you, this is my chart without it. This is with it. So definitely something to check out. If you guys wanted to see, I'll just show you here real quick. It's this one by Lonesome the something. This guy. Support resistant channels. Definitely something to check out and you can also play with it, backtest it, use it any way you like. Oh yeah, so anyways, TSM. Sorry, I got sidetracked with a message. So with TSM, we are looking at possibly a bounce here on this zone from 89.27, 88.11. We're kind of seeing a rejection, a continuous rejection here. I would only take puts on TSM below 88.11, and then you could play that to your demand zone, which will take you back down to $85. And if we break over 89.27, or we hold this level and kind of push higher, then we can see 90.32, 91.18, and then possibly push all the way back up to the 75 EMA, which is 93.39. And then if you wanted this zone here, that would be 94.75 to 95.97. But I'll take precaution with this trade because look at RSI, bearish. It's developing that bearish box here on MACD, and stochastics is trying to push down. So just be careful there. Don't take any bearish plays unless it's below 88.11, and then I will take calls if we're over 89.27. And you could play this nice $1 move, possibly even get that whole push to $93. And that's my spiel for TSM. What's up, Pineapple? All right. And the LLY. I'm going through everyone's request real quick, and then we're going to continue to the day trade setups after this. Wow, this is huge. So from August 7th, looking at LLY, we had a huge gap up here from August 7th to August 8th. 454 to 502, $50 gap. Crazy. And I don't know why there's no zone here, but that would be the best zone there. And our nearest big level to keep an eye out for is 543. Looking at our indicators, RSI it broke out of that overbought area right at 9:30 on September 14th at open. Had a nice cross on MACD. Stochastics is already oversold. So stochastics could be an indication we get a push back up to retest 597 before a push back down, but looking at MACD and RSI, they want to push down. So if I was to put a sentiment on this, I would say we're bearish on this more than anything. And if you wanted some levels, it would be 572.11, 562.44, 548, all the way to 543, because that will give you a nice little zone. Possible pushback there before we continue this downward move. So yeah, LOY, really fire play. I'm actually even going to add it to my watch list right now. Thanks to Nathan for pointing out that LOY. He did ask me about the gap fill. I don't see that gap fill occurring anytime soon. It's all the way. Last time it happened, last time it gapped was August 7th. That was what, over a month ago? Yeah, that was a month, a little bit more than a month. So if you did want to play like maybe 450 puts, 455 puts, I would take them like a month out, 2 months out. Like this will be a longer term play by far. Going to Biranav asked Tesla any level to wait before bearish trade. Oh yeah, with Tesla. With Tesla bearish trade, I would take it. Let me see if there's a nice level. Yeah, I would actually take it about right there. Yep, and probably play it to right here. Yeah, so I would say with Tesla, if you get a push below 270.53, this will be a nice area for puts. Below 275.3, you can play the 268.31, then kind of set your stop loss and let this run to 261 for the nearest zone, demand zone. And I really like this play, like I said before. Big fan of Tesla puts. What else am I looking at? Michael said Weed Canopy Growth Corp. I don't know who that is, but let's see. Weed Canopy Growth Corp. I think it's this one. I think it's this one, as far as I know. Michael, let me know. Is this the correct one I'm looking at here? All right, real quick. So Canopy Growth on WEED. This one, let's see here. This one, MACD is crossing here. Ready to cross to the downside after it's gotten a nice push off the previous demand zone on September 6th. Pushed all the way up to a high of 261. This is really low for me. I wouldn't, I don't really typically look at these kind of stocks because this is almost like a penny stock. But I mean, based on the chart, this is going to cross to the downside. And what's RSI doing? RSI is going to go retest overbought area. So I'll look for a push back up to about 210 on this stock before we get a push to the downside. I wouldn't take puts on this trade until we break below 157, because that would actually break. Well, sorry, let me fix that. That's going to be right there, 158. So below 158, I will take puts. If for some reason we do break over 213, then I would take calls to our nearest zone, which is at 252. And that's kind of how I'll play this. All right, cool. I think I covered everything. Oh, and somebody asked me about Adobe. Sorry. And then Pineapple's AMD, and then we'll move on. All right, ADBE, Adobe. So first thing I noticed is that we broke below the 75 EMA right there. Ever since we broke that on Friday in the morning, we kind of just kept pushing lower lows. We made a low of 523.87 by end of day. Our nearest demand zone is right here at 518 to 510. And based on RSI and the strength of MACD, I think we'll probably retest. We'll test out that 518. Probably test out that 518. Get this to oversold. And then we'll finally see some lightening up of that MACD, showing us a bullish momentum. So if you want, you can play tomorrow. You can most likely play puts to 518. You know, have your stop loss at the top of this, candle, which is 529.89. Play it all the way to 518, or your second choice is to let it hit the zone. Once you get bullish confirmation on the cross here on MACD or on stochastics, then you can play calls back to the 75 EMA, which will put you at 531. So, two different kinds of setups there, two different types of trades to definitely look out for. And there's also this gap to fill, 537 to 551. So personally for me, I would rather wait for the bounce off the demand zone than just play all that upside. Awesome. Glad you liked it. And then Pineapple asked me for AMD. AMD, how could I forget about this guy? So sorry. So, MACD, rejected here, rejected. Tried to break right here. Decided to reject the supply zone. Nasty there. Got a big gap up on Wednesday, September 6th. And continuously rejected that 75 EMA. So here on AMD, you can really see the strength of the 75 EMA working. Right now we're at 101. We're hanging out in this demand zone below between 99.58 and 102. With RSI stochastics, probably see another push down to at least the bottom of the zone, which will put you at around 99. But definitely once we break back up over 102, we can see a push back to the upside, at least to the 75 EMA for another rejection at 108. And I would say based on historical data that we've seen here, this is a very solid price target to the upside. Yep, exactly. But below 99 is put city. I agree. Yeah, below 99, this is gone. Below 99, you can see 92. Even get a further push down to $83. So doesn't have that much resistance on the way down. So for AMD's sake, hope they don't go that low. But we'll have to see how that goes tomorrow. Moving on to day trades. Yeah, moving on to day trades. We're gonna go to the 45-minute. We're gonna cover like four or five of these. First of all, can't forget there's a gap to fill right here between 447 and 450. And currently right now, if we're looking at all the indicators, we have SPY pushing already oversold. It's right there at 31, needs to be below 30 to be an oversold. Problem is that MACD is starting to light up and wants to push up. Remember, 4-hour time frame kind of told us that it's an overall bearish market right now, or a bearish trend. So at most here we're going to see a push back to 144, kind of chop around here. You know, let everybody kind of go overbought, including stochastics. Once you see that RSI and stochastics are overbought in this zone, puts are going to be the way to go. And these are some zones to keep an eye out for. This is 444 to 445.27, and then currently we're in this zone right here, 442 to 443.35. That's kind of where we're at right now. After this, at below 442.64, it's put city again. We can see 440.88, 438, 438.49, and then 437.65. So yeah, it's deadly for the market if we break below 442.62. That will be puts. Moving on to Qs. What is that indicator? The red and green line. Oh, the red and green line? Sure. Oh, the red and green line, this guy right here. This guy is rips your EMA clouds. This guy. Rips your EMA clouds. Qs. Qs oversold on stochastics. Attempted to be oversold on RSI, kind of bounced up here, kind of stuck within this demand zone before market closed. And again, 4-hour, like we said earlier, was pretty bearish. We could see a push on Qs, if not to VWAP, which is around 371. We could push to the next zone, which is about 374, before we get that huge dump. And this huge dump is actually what I would wait for. Because this little upside move, yes, it'll pay, but the big money is going to be on this move. So again, if you want to wait for puts, puts are going to be below 370.50. Calls over 372, you can play them to the bold line, which is on the 45-minute time frame. This is the 35 EMA. Yeah, this is the 35 EMA, so 373.80. So if you want to take over 372.09 to 373.80, that would be a nice short-term move, but I wouldn't play any higher than that because the market is looking for vengeance tomorrow. Let me show you some nice setups. Oh yeah, so this one I wanted to show you guys. So this is Apple. Very similar to kind of how I showed you AMD, right? So this bold line, 35 EMA, constant rejections. Constant rejections, already 1, 2, and 3, right? Constantly rejected and constantly bounced off of. And this is pretty much the only bullish thing that I've seen so far, because RSI crossed above. It's going to push above 50 soon. MACD is pretty bullish, and stochastics is already pushing above that 50 level. So more than likely, you're going to see a push on Apple to get a nice bounce off of 175.78, which would probably leave you at touching that 35 EMA. And then from there, you'll see a nice rejection. Back down to 173.64. So best outcomes you can take right here is take calls at open, play it all the way to 175, have a stop loss set so that you can catch this downside move, and then play puts. If you wanted a nice stop loss, you can use this blue line, which would be your VWAP. VWAP would only be at 174.83, so that would be a nice little, it'll be a close stop loss, but on plays like this that we want to take at open, we want to be very careful. All right, dude. Happy trading, man. Thanks. So Apple's good. Apple really saw the trade tomorrow for a day trade. What was another one I wanted to show you guys? Coin, another really fire setup. Yeah, so here are the zones. Over 83.45, I will take calls, and then you could see you could probably see a big push up to $86. Especially after the fact that we are breaking over this 35 EMA and VWAP. And with this bullish momentum that's about to come after this MACD cross, all three of our indicators will be bullish. So this can be a nice upwards trade. If we do end up rejecting at open, then I would wait for a push below VWAP. Once we break VWAP, then we can see 79 again. Now let's see. Oh, IWM. IWM, I really like. So this is a really nice setup. And we actually covered a very similar setup last week. Last week we said, hey, this was bouncing off our zone, which was about what, 183.55 to 183.41. Kept rejecting there, rejecting. Every time we rejected, we bought calls, and we said that we would hit the bottom of that supply zone, and we did. Not only once, but twice. So you could just tell how solid our zones are sometimes. And what I'm thinking is that tomorrow we're probably going to get a cross on MACD and RSI, MACD RSI, as stochastics is already bouncing out of oversold. So expecting a nice push up in the morning. And targets would be probably 184.25 if you want to take a call at open. You can play all the way up to 185.76, but also keep in mind that there is a zone to fill right here between 185.09 and 185.32. So if it does break above 184.25, look for this zone to kind of trim most of your profits. Well, you got spy calls for Friday. Well, I'm gonna pray for you. But I mean, as far as what my analysis says for this week, I'm pretty bearish overall. So I would just take that as a grain of salt. But it's always up to you what you want to trade. But those are just my 2 cents. There was one more I wanted to show you guys. I had one more that I had drawn out. Thought I did at least. Oh, it's gone. Was it Google? No, it wasn't Google. it was it. Those were all the ones I had marked for you guys. Thought I had more. Yeah, I mean, if FOMC on Wednesday will probably give you a better understanding. But if that interest rate comes in hot on Wednesday and it shows signs of a rate hike, I would definitely consider getting out of that trade possibly. But you know, this is not financial advice, so that's up to you. Yeah, but guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Just a little bit of synopsis about the 4-hour, the 45-minute, and just a few zones to keep an eye out for, and some setups that I wanted to show you guys for this upcoming week. Before I let you guys go, I also wanted to mention that I am running a small account challenge. We are taking $200 to $2,000. We had a little bit of a hiccup these past 2 days, but we are back. But we're back in session. We've honestly been killing the small account challenge. We got it to 100% within about a week, 6 days of trading. Unfortunately, made a bad call 2 days ago, but that's life. But this account is very well risk managed, and I hope you guys will follow me along on that journey. Let me actually show you guys. Is it in your bots alert or your server? So it's actually in the Moments Trading Discord server. That's where I'm having it. That's where it's going on right now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna actually just pull that up for you guys. So guys, the small account challenge is for the free. All you have to do is just join. Just join the server. It's called Moments Trading. We have a whole trading floor where a lot of people just get together, talk shit. I have my own channel, of course, and then here we have the small account challenge. So before I screwed it up, we were at $408 at 104% in 6 to 7 days of trading. Had a little hiccup, right? Got down to currently we're at 173.66, but doesn't matter. We're gonna come back and we're gonna hit it hard this week, and we're gonna get back to $400 by the end of the week. We're gonna freaking kill it. I also wanted to show you guys that as far this is all free. I'm gonna post my link in the chat in just a moment. If you guys wanted to check out the premium, premium consists of a bunch of other traders that post a bunch of levels. My boy Bishop, Monster. We have a bunch of analysts like to post their stocks and what they're looking at beforehand for options trades, kind of giving you their ideas and what they're looking at into the trades. And these traders are just freaking monsters. Just monsters. So I mean, I don't want you guys to miss out. I want you guys to take full advantage of the server. So let me actually just post that right now. Other than that, there's also an AI suite hosted by Tradeidics, whatever it's called. It gives you a whole sweep. It gives you golden sweeps, insider trades, potential stock breakouts with a freaking chart to go off of. So freaking cool. And then of course our members lounge, which is super engaging. We talk shit throughout the whole day about market, options, trading, and then off topic, talk about life. But it's a fun group to be a part of. I always talk shit in there with them, and I hope you guys will join soon. But that small account challenge is no joke. Let me tell you guys, it's gonna be It's going to be fun. That's all I can say. It's going to be a fun time, and you guys do not want to miss out. And I'm just going to post the invite link right now for the server. So first of all, here I'm going to post this link. This is a 30% discount code for the trading group, if you wanted to check that out. And then here's the link for the server. And here's the link for the Discord server in the chat. So everybody, make sure to follow, subscribe, and like up this video, because I would love to do this. I would love to do this again. And before I let you guys go, if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to just send me a DM, either here on YouTube or on Discord. Hope to see you guys there tomorrow for the small account challenge and for trading. If not, good luck this week. Let's make some money. And I'll see you guys next Sunday.